Welcome to the Deep Sleep Discoveries channel. Settle in now and let your breathing slow. Tonight we walk among the quiet ones, the rooted, the patient, the green. They have been here longer than we have, breathing with the world, holding soil and sky together. Just before we begin, if you enjoy these quiet journeys through science, please consider liking and subscribing. Close your eyes. Imagine leaves turning toward light you cannot see, roots reaching through darkness you will never know. Plants have existed for over 470 million years, long before the first footstep, long before bone or wing. They emerged from ancient seas onto barren rock, pioneers of an empty world. Imagine that first green cell climbing onto land, vulnerable and soft, beginning the slow work of transformation. They built soil from stone, breath from sunlight. Everything that walks or flies or thinks arrived later, stepping onto ground these patient organisms prepared. They are the foundation, the first architects. We are merely guests in the house that plants built, breathing the air they learned to make. The first land plants were small, moss-like organisms, no taller than your thumb. They had no flowers, no roots, no woody stems, just simple green filaments clinging to moisture and stone. Picture them. A thin carpet of life spreading slowly across a world of bare rock and sand. They could not stand upright, could not reach, could only hold on and persist. Yet from these humble beginnings, forests would rise. Every towering redwood, every sprawling oak traces its lineage back to these tiny ancestors. Smallness does not mean insignificance. Sometimes the quietest revolutions begin with the smallest rebels. Trees appeared approximately 385 million years ago, and the world was never the same. Before them, the land lay low and exposed. Then came Archaeopteryx, the first true tree, lifting wood and leaf toward the sky, casting the first shadows. Imagine standing in that ancient forest, the first forest where shade was new, where fallen logs were an invention. These early trees changed everything. They deepened soil, cooled the air, transformed the very composition of the atmosphere. They created the conditions for all that followed. Every forest you've ever walked through echoes that first one, still casting shadows across time. The oldest living tree is over 5,000 years old, a bristlecone pine named Methuselah, growing in California's White Mountains. It was already ancient when the pyramids were young. Imagine, this single organism has witnessed the entire span of recorded human history, every empire, every invention, every war, and still it persists, gnarled and patient. Its exact location remains secret, protected from those who might harm it. It asks nothing, offers nothing but its own endurance. 5,000 years of sunlight converted to wood, 5,000 years of silent witness. Some things outlast empires simply by continuing to live. Seagrasses evolved from land plants that returned to the ocean, a reverse migration spanning millions of years. They conquered land, developed roots and leaves and flowers, then chose to go back. Picture that journey, slowly adapting, generation by generation, learning to live underwater again, to flower beneath the waves, to pollinate in currents instead of air. It's a reminder that evolution isn't a ladder but a wandering path. Sometimes the way forward is backward. Now seagrasses form underwater meadows that shelter fish, stabilize coastlines, and produce oxygen for the sea. They came home changed, bringing gifts the ocean never had before. Fossilized plant spores are among Earth's oldest terrestrial life evidence, tiny time capsules preserved in ancient rock. These microscopic grains, smaller than dust, survived hundreds of millions of years. Imagine them, the reproductive hopes of plants long extinct, carried on winds that blew across landscapes we cannot picture, settling into mud that became stone. Scientists split rocks and find them there, still intact, still recognizable, still telling stories. A spore is a whisper from the deep past. Each one represents a plant's attempt at tomorrow, frozen mid-flight. They didn't germinate, but they testified. Sometimes survival means simply leaving evidence you existed. Early plants had no roots, only simple anchoring structures called rhizoids, tiny threads that held them to substrate but couldn't truly dig or explore. They existed at the mercy of surface moisture, unable to mine the earth for water or stability. Picture them, vulnerable, dependent, clinging. Then, gradually, roots evolved, proper roots that could penetrate, search, anchor deep. It was an innovation as profound as wings or eyes. Roots gave plants power over their circumstances, let them reach beyond the obvious, tap into hidden reserves. They transformed plants from passive opportunists into active engineers. Sometimes the most important changes happen underground, invisible but revolutionary. The first forests transformed Earth's atmosphere forever, pulling carbon from the air and locking it in wood and soil. Before them, the atmosphere was thick with CO2. After them, oxygen rose, the climate cooled, the very chemistry of existence shifted. Imagine the first forest fire, the first leaf fall, the first layer of humus building on barren ground. These forests didn't just inhabit the world, they remade it. They created the conditions that would allow animals to grow large, brains to grow complex. We breathe easy because forests once breathed deep. Every forest is a continuation of that ancient transformation, still working, still converting light to life to air. Coal deposits are compressed ancient forests from the Carboniferous period, 300 million years gone. Those forests grew so fast, so thick, that when they died, they couldn't fully decompose. Layer upon layer of plant matter piled up, was buried, compressed under unimaginable weight and time. When you burn coal, you're releasing sunlight captured by ferns and horsetails before dinosaurs existed. Picture it, ancient photosynthesis converted to heat and light in your present moment. Those forests still serve us, still give their stored energy. We burn the past to power the present, using light that fell on leaves before mammals walked the earth. Some plant lineages are older than dinosaurs, predating the terrible lizards by millions of years. Ferns, horsetails, cycads, these groups established themselves in the deep past and simply persisted while the world changed around them. Dinosaurs came, dominated, vanished. Mammals rose, ice ages advanced and retreated. Through it all, certain plants endured, fundamentally unchanged. Imagine a ginkgo tree's perspective, watching continents drift, watching species rise and fall like seasons. These ancient lineages are living fossils, carrying forms perfected so long ago they've needed no revision. Sometimes the old ways are the best ways. Sometimes survival means knowing when not to change. Plants produce approximately 50% of Earth's oxygen, sharing the burden with ocean phytoplankton. Every other breath you take comes from a plant, a tree, a blade of grass, a floating algae, a rainforest fern. Imagine the scale of that gift. Billions of organisms, each one converting carbon dioxide to oxygen, each one working the ancient alchemy of photosynthesis. They ask nothing in return, require no gratitude, simply perform their cellular magic. The air you're breathing now was exhaled by a leaf somewhere, perhaps nearby, perhaps across an ocean. We are all breathing together, plants and people, trading gases, sustaining each other in an exchange older than language. A mature tree produces enough oxygen for approximately 2 people per day, a quiet generosity that continues year after year. Picture one tree, oak, maple, pine, its leaves spreading, its chloroplasts working. 2 people breathe in what it breathes out. The math is beautiful in its simplicity. You and another person sustained by a single living being that asks only for soil and light. It's a reminder of how much we depend on the green world, how intimately our lives are woven with theirs. 1 tree equals 2 breaths equals 2 lives, supported by something we often walk past without noticing. Gratitude, perhaps, should be instinctive. Photosynthesis converts 100 billion tons of carbon annually, an industry beyond human scale. Every leaf is a factory, every chloroplast a machine, working ceaselessly to transform the simple into the complex. Imagine that mass, 100 billion tons, pulled from air and water, reassembled into sugar, into structure, into life itself. This happens silently, without fanfare, without executives or wages. It is pure biological economy, efficient, elegant, endless. When you eat anything, you're consuming captured sunlight, rearranged carbon, the product of this green industry. Every calorie on your plate began as light on a leaf. We are ultimately condensed sunshine packaged by plants. Plants absorb carbon dioxide through tiny pores called stomata, microscopic mouths on leaf surfaces. Each one can open and close, regulating gas exchange, balancing intake with water loss. Look at a leaf's underside through a microscope. Hundreds, thousands of these little openings, like lips pursed in perpetual breathing. They respond to light, humidity, carbon dioxide levels, making countless small adjustments throughout the day. Imagine the sophistication, automatic, autonomous, requiring no conscious thought. Each stoma is a gateway between inside and outside, between plant and atmosphere. Through these tiny mouths, forests breathe. Through these tiny mouths, the world is fed. Chlorophyll's molecular ring structure mirrors the heme in human blood. Both are porphyrins, but chlorophyll holds magnesium at its center while hemoglobin holds iron. This structural similarity is hauntingly beautiful. Plants and people built with nearly identical molecular architecture, differing by a single atom. That one atom makes all the difference. Iron carries oxygen through your veins. Magnesium captures light in green cells. Picture these molecules side by side, cousins separated by one small choice evolution made long ago. We are more alike than we appear, plants and people, running parallel chemistries, both conducting the business of life through elegant molecular rings. Different metals, same design, same purpose, sustaining existence. Plants also respire at night, taking in oxygen like we do, burning sugars for energy when photosynthesis stops. It's easy to think of plants as pure producers, as beings of light and growth. But they too must sustain themselves, must metabolize, must breathe in the dark. Imagine a forest at midnight, every tree, every bush, every blade of grass quietly inhaling oxygen, quietly releasing carbon dioxide, resting from their day's work of feeding the world. They are more like us than we realize, breathing in, breathing out, cycling through rest and work, darkness and light. Even the green world needs to catch its breath. Cacti perform photosynthesis in their stems, not leaves, having traded foliage for survival in desiccating heat. Their stems are swollen with water storage, wrapped in waxy armor, studded with spines that were once leaves reduced to defensive points. Imagine the adaptation, gradually shedding the broad, thirsty leaves that work well in wetter places, consolidating function into a thick, protected core. In desert heat, this is genius. Maximize water storage, minimize water loss, continue the work of photosynthesis in unconventional tissue. Cacti remind us that there are many ways to be a plant, many solutions to the problem of survival. Sometimes radical redesign is the answer. Sometimes less is more. Underwater plants produce oxygen that dissolves directly into water, feeding aquatic life just as terrestrial plants feed land animals. Seagrasses, kelp, water lilies, they're working the same ancient magic, just in a denser medium. Picture a sunlit shallow, light filtering down through water, reaching leaves that ripple with current, producing streams of tiny bubbles that rise like reversed rain. Fish swim through oxygen-rich zones. Tadpoles shelter in underwater meadows. Entire ecosystems depend on these submerged gardens. The chemistry is identical. Sunlight plus water plus carbon dioxide equals sugar and oxygen, but the context transforms everything. Even underwater, the green world breathes life into its surroundings. The Amazon rainforest recycles its own moisture through plant transpiration, essentially creating its own weather. Trees pull water from soil, release it through leaves. The moisture rises, condenses, falls as rain, and the cycle continues, a green engine driving its own climate. Picture the scale. Billions of leaves releasing water vapor, forming clouds that rain back down on the same forest, feeding the same roots. It's a closed system, a self-sustaining loop, nearly independent of outside water sources. This is why losing Amazon forest is so devastating. The trees don't just live in the rainforest, they are the rainforest, manufacturing the very rain that sustains them. Remove the trees, break the cycle. 1 acre of trees can absorb as much carbon dioxide as a car produces driving 26,000 miles, making forests powerful climate regulators. Imagine an acre, roughly a football field, of oak or maple or pine. Throughout a year, those trees collectively pull from the air what your vehicle puts there during months of commuting. They convert it to wood, to root, to leaf, locking carbon away in solid form. It's a quiet heroism, a service performed without recognition or reward. Trees don't fight climate change through protest or policy. They fight it by simply being trees, by doing what they've always done. 1 acre at a time, they clean the air we've dirtied. Tree roots typically extend 4 to 7 times wider than the canopy above, far beyond the drip line, creating vast underground networks. What you see above, the trunk, the branches, the crown, is just the visible half of a much larger organism. Below ground, roots spread like underground rivers, searching, exploring, claiming territory you cannot see. Picture the hidden architecture. A massive root system supporting a tree, stabilizing soil, preventing erosion, accessing water far from the trunk. When you walk through a forest, you're walking on a hidden web of roots beneath your feet, overlapping, interweaving, holding the earth together. The underground world is as complex as the one above, just invisible. A single rye plant can grow 387 miles of roots in one season, an astonishing feat of underground expansion. Imagine one plant, humble, grain-producing rye, extending thread after thread into soil, branching and rebranching, creating a massive subsurface network. If you could extract those roots and lay them end to end, they'd stretch from Los Angeles to San Francisco and back again. This happens invisibly, beneath the ordinary surface of a field, requiring no fanfare, no recognition. The plant needs water, nutrients, stability, so it builds infrastructure to get them. It's a reminder of the hidden labor that sustains visible growth. What we see above is always supported by work we don't see below. Roots can sense gravity and grow downward accordingly, a phenomenon called gravitropism. Inside root cap cells, tiny starch-filled organelles called statoliths settle to the bottom like sand in a shaken jar. The root senses their position and adjusts its growth, always turning downward, always seeking the Earth's center. Imagine this cellular awareness. The plant knows which way is down without eyes or brain, using tiny weights and chemical signals. Even when you plant a seed sideways, roots will curve downward, stems will curve upward. They know. They navigate by gravity alone, orienting themselves in darkness, finding their place. Direction is felt, not seen. The deepest known plant roots belong to the shepherd's tree in the Kalahari, reaching over 220 feet deep, 7 stories beneath the surface. Picture roots descending through layers of soil, through sand and stone, reaching toward water tables far below the baking desert surface. This depth requires decades to achieve, a slow downward journey driven by thirst and necessity. At 220 feet, these roots exist in permanent darkness, in a world that never sees sunlight, never feels rain directly. Yet they sustain a tree above, bringing up water from depths that would require industrial drilling for humans to access. Desperation breeds innovation. Thirst breeds determination. Some roots are less like threads and more like expeditions. Root hairs increase surface area by up to 1,000 times, transforming a simple root into an absorption powerhouse. These microscopic extensions, each one a single elongated cell, cover root surfaces like fur, reaching into soil particles, making intimate contact with water and minerals. Imagine the difference. A smooth root might touch a small portion of surrounding soil, but a root covered in thousands of tiny hairs touches everything, accessing nutrients that would otherwise remain unreachable. It's elegant engineering. No complex machinery required, just countless small protrusions increasing contact. More surface means more opportunity. Life finds ways to maximize every interface, every boundary, every moment of contact between self and world. Banyan tree roots can descend from branches to form new trunks, creating forests from single individuals. Aerial roots drop from horizontal limbs, dangle like curtains, gradually thicken and reach the ground, where they establish as new support columns. Over time, one banyan becomes many-trunked, spreading into a grove that's still technically one organism. Picture walking through a banyan forest, touching trunk after trunk, realizing they're all connected above, all branches of one ancient being. The boundaries blur. Is it one tree or many? Does it matter? These trees redefine individuality, creating architecture that confuses our categories. Sometimes a single life can fill the space we'd expect from a community. Mycorrhizal fungi extend root reach by 10 to 1,000 times, forming partnerships that have existed for 400 million years. Fungal threads, finer than the finest root hair, penetrate soil in every direction, accessing water and nutrients the plant alone could never reach. In return, the plant shares sugars produced through photosynthesis. It's collaboration, symbiosis, mutual benefit refined over eons. Picture the underground exchange. Fungal filaments connecting to root tips, trading nutrients for energy. Most plants depend entirely on these partnerships. Without fungi, forests would struggle, crops would fail. We tend to think of plants as self-sufficient, but they know better. Survival often means accepting help, forming alliances, sharing resources. Roots communicate with soil bacteria through chemical signals, releasing specific compounds that attract beneficial microbes. These chemical messages recruit allies: nitrogen-fixing bacteria, disease-fighting organisms, nutrient-solubilizing helpers. Imagine the conversation happening continuously beneath your feet. Roots calling out in chemical language, bacteria responding, relationships forming. The plant shapes its own environment, cultivates its own support system. This is active environmental engineering, though it happens at scales too small and slow for us to witness. Roots aren't passive absorbers. They're social networkers, diplomats, ecosystem architects. They build the communities they need to thrive, one chemical signal at a time. Even rooted organisms can reach out, can call, can connect. Some plants have contractile roots that pull them deeper into soil, essentially dragging themselves downward. These specialized roots shorten after formation, contracting like tiny muscles, tugging the plant body underground. Bulbs, corms, and certain perennials use this method to reach optimal depth or escape surface dangers. Picture a bulb feeling exposed, vulnerable to heat or frost, then slowly pulling itself downward, disappearing into safer depths. It's active movement in beings we consider stationary. The plant adjusts its position, repositions itself, seeks better circumstances. It happens slowly, over weeks or months, but it's deliberate. Even rooted beings can migrate, can flee unfavorable conditions, can dig themselves in deeper. The root cap produces a lubricating gel to ease through soil, a botanical slime that reduces friction and protects delicate growing tissues. As roots push through dirt and sand and clay, they're essentially drilling through solid matter. The gel they secrete makes this possible, turning rough passage into smooth progress. Imagine roots as living drills, their tips coated in mucilage, gliding through earth that would otherwise resist or damage them. This gel also helps roots establish contact with soil particles, improving water and nutrient uptake. It's practical, elegant, effective. Lubrication isn't just a human invention. Plants discovered it millions of years ago. Sometimes the way forward requires making the path slippery. Trees share nutrients through fungal networks called mycorrhizae, creating what scientists call the wood wide web. Underground fungal threads connect tree to tree, species to species, forming a biological internet through which resources flow. A tree with excess carbon shares with neighbors. A shaded understory tree receives supplements from sunny canopy trees. It's mutual aid, cooperation on a forest scale. Picture the exchange. Sugars flowing one direction, phosphorus another, information traveling both ways. What looks like competition above ground is collaboration below it. Forests aren't just collections of individuals, they're superorganisms, networked communities where success is shared. The roots know what we're learning. Cooperation often beats competition. Mother trees support younger trees through root connections, recognizing and preferentially feeding their offspring. Large, established trees, often the oldest in a forest, detect kin through chemical signals, then allocate extra resources to saplings struggling in their shade. It's botanical parenting, investment in the next generation. Imagine a grandmother tree, centuries old, sensing her descendants nearby, diverting precious carbon their way, giving them advantages they couldn't gain alone. This isn't anthropomorphism, it's documented behavior, measurable resource transfer, preferential treatment based on relatedness. Even in the still world of plants, families take care of their own. Even rooted, they can nurture. Even silent, they can give. Plants can recognize their own relatives through root secretions, distinguishing kin from strangers in the underground maze. Roots release chemical signatures that identify genetic relationships. When siblings grow near each other, they compete less aggressively than they do with unrelated neighbors. It's kin selection in action. Helping those who share your genes improves your genetic legacy's overall success. Picture two seedlings germinating near each other, roots reaching out, chemical recognition occurring, behavior adjusting based on relatedness. This challenges our idea of plants as passive, unconscious. They recognize, they remember, they adjust strategy based on who's nearby. Family matters, even underground. Identity exists, even without brains. Underground networks transfer carbon between trees of different species, demonstrating generosity that crosses taxonomic boundaries. A Douglas fir shares with paper birch. An oak supports a pine. The fungal network facilitates these exchanges, but the trees could refuse. They don't. Resources flow to whoever needs them, regardless of species. Imagine the implications. Forests aren't battlegrounds of species competing for supremacy, but communities where diversity itself is supported, where different types help each other survive. This is coalition, alliance, coexistence enabling everyone's success. The underground economy runs on cooperation, not pure competition. Diversity is maintained through mutual aid. The forest takes care of all its members, recognizing that everyone's survival improves the whole. Injured plants send warning signals through fungal networks, alerting neighbors to danger. When one tree is attacked by insects or infected by disease, it releases chemical messages into the underground network. Nearby trees receive these warnings and preemptively boost their chemical defenses before the threat reaches them. Imagine the communication. One tree under siege, signaling for help, and the forest responding by preparing for battle. The network becomes an early warning system, a botanical alarm spreading through fungal wires. Trees that receive warnings survive attacks better than those that don't. Community defense requires communication. Survival is a group effort. The network protects all its members by keeping everyone informed. Some plants can distinguish between friend and foe roots, allocating resources and growth patterns accordingly. Roots encountering siblings will grow less aggressively, sharing space more equitably. Roots encountering competitors will grow more aggressively, attempting to outcompete for resources. This isn't random, it's strategic behavior based on recognition. Picture the underground negotiation, roots meeting, chemical identification occurring, growth patterns adjusting. With kin, it's cooperation. With strangers, it's competition. Plants make complex social decisions without brains or consciousness. They read their environment, identify players, adjust tactics. Even in soil darkness, social intelligence operates. Even without thought, there is strategy, recognition, relationship management. Forest floors contain more living organisms than visible above ground, an invisible majority working in darkness. Bacteria, fungi, insects, worms, protozoa, nematodes, billions of organisms in every handful of soil, processing nutrients, breaking down organic matter, forming the foundation of forest health. What we see, trees, ferns, flowers, is supported by what we don't see, the teeming microscopic world beneath. Imagine the disparity. A forest appears to be its trees, but the real biomass, the real diversity, the real action is underground. We walk on worlds we cannot see. Every step covers thousands of lives, countless dramas of predation and decomposition. The forest's foundation is invisible, but everything depends on it. A teaspoon of soil contains more organisms than humans on Earth, a staggering concentration of life in the smallest spaces. Billions of bacteria, meters of fungal threads, countless microscopic animals, all within one small scoop. Picture it, holding a teaspoon of dirt, knowing it contains more individual lives than every person who's ever existed. This is life at its most dense, most successful, most varied. These organisms aren't irrelevant microbes. They're the reason plants grow, the reason forests exist, the reason our food systems function. We are outnumbered, outmassed, outdiversified by the soil itself. What seems like mere dirt is actually the most populated ecosystem on the planet. Plants allocate up to 30% of their energy to root-fungal partnerships, a massive investment that proves the partnership's value. Photosynthesis is expensive work, and carbon is precious currency. That plants voluntarily surrender nearly a third of what they produce shows how much they gain in return. The fungal network provides water, nitrogen, phosphorus, information, connections, services worth the steep price. Imagine the economics. A tree producing 100 units of sugar, keeping 70, giving 30 to its fungal partners. This is a deliberate trade, a budget decision, an investment in infrastructure. The plant could hoard resources, but cooperation yields better returns. Sometimes giving away wealth creates more wealth. Sometimes the best investment is in others. Root networks can persist for centuries, outliving individual trees, maintaining forest continuity across generations. When an old tree dies, its roots remain viable, still connected to the network, still transferring resources, still serving as highways for nutrients and information. New trees tap into this established infrastructure, immediately joining a network that predates them by decades or centuries. Imagine the continuity. Roots that touched roots that touched roots stretching back hundreds of years, an unbroken chain of underground connection. The forest has institutional memory, stored not in minds but in living networks that span lifetimes. Individual trees come and go, but the network persists, the community endures, the underground city remains inhabited. Flowers evolved approximately 140 million years ago, and they changed everything. Suddenly the world had color in new ways, scent in new forms, partnerships between plants and pollinators. Before flowers, plants relied on wind or water to spread pollen, an inefficient broadcast method. Flowers were targeted advertising, specific invitations to specific creatures promising specific rewards. Picture the first flower opening, perhaps small, perhaps simple, but revolutionary. It offered nectar and in return asked for pollination services. This innovation worked spectacularly. Flowering plants now dominate the landscape, outnumbering non-flowering plants dramatically. Flowers are seduction made visible, evolution's solution to the problem of distance. Beauty serves function. Function creates beauty. The corpse flower blooms once every 7 to 10 years and smells like rotting flesh, a strategy perfectly designed for its pollinators, carrion beetles and flies. The plant invests years growing a massive underground corm, storing energy for one spectacular, stinking bloom. When ready, it produces a towering inflorescence that heats up and releases volatile compounds mimicking decomposition. Pollinators, attracted by the promise of rotting meat in which to lay eggs, instead find flower parts dusted with pollen. It's deception, trickery, evolutionary cunning. Imagine waiting a decade between blooms, investing everything in brief, powerful displays. Not all flowers smell sweet. Not all strategies involve honest signals. Sometimes survival requires elaborate lies. Some flowers generate heat to attract pollinators, a remarkable feat for organisms we assume are passive temperature takers. Certain arums, lotuses, and cycads burn stored energy to raise flower temperature above ambient air, sometimes by 20 degrees or more. This heat volatilizes scents, creating strong odor plumes. For pollinators, warm flowers offer refuge from cold nights, a thermal reward alongside nectar. Picture a lotus flower on a chilly morning, radiating warmth like a tiny furnace, insects clustering on it for heat and food. The plant burns calories to make itself inviting, spending stored reserves to ensure pollination. Even plants can generate their own warmth when the stakes are high enough. Night-blooming flowers often appear white or pale to reflect moonlight, making themselves visible in darkness. In the absence of color-detecting vision, brightness becomes the signal. These flowers also tend to have intense fragrances that travel well at night when air is still and humid. Moths, bats, nocturnal beetles. These creatures navigate by scent and contrast, so night flowers evolve accordingly. Picture a garden after dark. Pale blooms glowing in moonlight, releasing perfume into cool air, attracting visitors who work the night shift. Daylight belongs to bees and butterflies, but night has its own economy, its own specialists, its own suite of flowers adapted to darkness. Beauty doesn't sleep, it just changes shifts. The Titan arum flower can reach 10 feet tall, a botanical monument that blooms rarely and memorably. When it does bloom, people flock to botanical gardens to witness it, partly for its size, partly for its infamous corpse-like stench. The plant spends years building underground resources, then suddenly erupts into a massive spadix wrapped in a crimson spathe, heated and reeking. It's spectacular, absurd, almost theatrical. Imagine the strategy. Instead of many small blooms, invest everything in one enormous display that dominates the landscape. It's the botanical equivalent of a billboard, impossible to miss, impossible to forget. Sometimes more is more. Sometimes overwhelming presence is the whole point. Some orchids mimic female insects to trick males into pollination, creating dummy insects so convincing that males attempt to mate with them. The flower's shape, color, scent, even texture replicate the target species' females. A male bee approaches, attempts copulation, gets dusted with pollen, leaves frustrated, finds another fake female at another orchid, transfers pollen, pollination occurs. It's sexual deception at an extraordinary level of detail. Picture the evolutionary refinement required, matching visual appearance, chemical signals, tactile cues. The orchid offers nothing, no nectar, no reward, only broken promises. Yet the system works, has worked for millennia. Sometimes exploitation is a viable strategy. Sometimes deception is sophisticated enough to be successful. Snapdragons have jaws that only large bees can open, excluding smaller, weaker pollinators who might steal nectar without providing adequate pollination services. The flower's lower lip serves as a landing platform. When a heavy bee lands, its weight triggers the jaws to open, granting access to nectar and reproductive parts. Smaller insects lack sufficient mass. The door stays closed. It's selective access, quality control, ensuring that only capable pollinators get the reward. Picture the mechanical precision. A flower operating like a weight-triggered door, measuring each visitor, admitting only those who can perform the required service. Even plants can be discriminating, choosing their partners carefully, protecting their investments. Sunflowers follow the sun from east to west each day, a behavior called heliotropism, tracking light across the sky like living solar panels. Young sunflowers turn their faces eastward overnight, ready to greet the dawn. During the day, they slowly rotate westward, following the sun's path. At night, they reset, turning back east in anticipation. This circadian rhythm is controlled by growth. The stem's east side grows during day, the west side during night. Once mature and flowering stops, they cease tracking and face permanently east. Picture the slow dance, a field of sunflowers turning in unison, maximizing photosynthesis, warming pollinators with morning sun exposure. Movement is possible, even for the rooted. The oldest flower fossil is 130 million years old, a small, delicate impression in stone from northeast China. It's called Archifructus, an aquatic plant with simple flowers, neither showy nor complex, primitive, exploratory, early stage. This fossil represents experiments in floral design, the beginning of the partnership between plants and pollinators that would eventually dominate terrestrial ecosystems. Imagine that ancient flower opening in a Cretaceous pond, unaware it was pioneering a strategy that would outlive dinosaurs. It's preserved now, flattened in rock, a whisper from deep time. Flowers feel recent, familiar, but they're ancient innovations, older than many mammals, survivors of extinctions that erased entire lineages. Some flowers can detect bee electrical fields, sensing the approach of pollinators before they land. Bees accumulate positive charge during flight. Flowers are slightly negatively charged. When a bee nears, the flower's electrical field changes, triggering responses, possibly releasing scent, possibly preparing nectar, possibly signaling other flowers nearby. It's electromagnetic perception, another sense we didn't know plants possessed. Picture the invisible interaction. a bee approaching, fields shifting, the flower aware though it has no eyes or ears. The world is full of signals we don't perceive, conversations occurring in wavelengths beyond our senses. Plants and pollinators communicate in languages we're just beginning to understand. Seeds can remain dormant for thousands of years, waiting in darkness for conditions favorable to their particular requirements. They're biological time capsules, life suspended but not ended, potential stored in tiny packages. A seed might wait for fire, for flood, for the right temperature, for scarification, for light. Until then, it endures, patient beyond measure. Imagine the dormancy. Years becoming decades, becoming centuries, metabolism slowed nearly to nothing, waiting. When conditions finally align, germination occurs, and an organism from the deep past emerges into a present it couldn't have predicted. Seeds are bridges across time, connecting one moment to another separated by unimaginable duration. A date palm was grown from a 2,000-year-old seed discovered in archaeological excavations at Masada, Israel. The seed, nicknamed Methuselah, had been stored in a clay jar since the time of Christ. Scientists planted it in 2005 expecting nothing, yet it germinated, grew, thrived, a plant from antiquity living in modernity. Imagine the journey, a seed produced before Rome fell, surviving 2 millennia in darkness, then sprouting as if time meant nothing. This challenges our understanding of life and death, of dormancy and viability. The line between alive and not alive blurs. Seeds are patient beyond comprehension, willing to wait centuries for their moment. Life deferred is still life, just sleeping. Coconuts can float in ocean currents for months and still germinate, making them extraordinary oceanic travelers. The husk is buoyant, waterproof, protective. Inside, the seed remains viable even after weeks at sea, traveling thousands of miles from parent plant to distant shore. This is how coconuts colonized tropical islands. They floated there, arrived on beaches, sprouted in sand. Picture the journey. A coconut bobbing in waves, drifting on currents, eventually washing ashore on an empty island, taking root, establishing. Its biological colonization, species range expansion through patience and buoyancy. The ocean becomes a highway. Islands become destinations. Seeds don't need wings to fly or legs to walk. Sometimes they just need to float. Maple seeds helicopter through air, spinning as they fall, slowing descent and traveling farther from the parent tree. Each seed has a papery wing that catches air, creating lift as it spins. This auto-rotation is aerodynamically sophisticated. The wings' shape and weight distribution are perfectly calibrated. Watch them fall. They don't plummet. They spiral, glide, dance on wind. This gives them time to travel horizontally, to escape the parent tree's shadow, to find new ground. It's elegant engineering without an engineer, physics exploited by evolution. The seed is passenger in its own aircraft, a single-use glider designed to fail slowly, beautifully, far from home. Dandelion seeds can travel up to 5 miles on wind, each one attached to a feathery pappus that acts as a parachute. The structure is optimized for maximum air resistance with minimum weight. When wind catches a dandelion head, seeds detach and sail, dozens or hundreds of tiny parachutes dispersing in all directions. Picture a child blowing on a dandelion. Those seeds might travel miles, might cross rivers, might find gardens or fields far beyond sight. This is wind dispersal perfected, cheap, effective, wide-ranging. The plant doesn't know where seeds will land, doesn't try to control their destination. It simply releases them and trusts the wind to find somewhere suitable. Some seeds require fire to germinate, lying dormant until wildfire sweeps through, then sprouting in ash-enriched soil. Fire breaks dormancy through heat, through smoke chemicals, through destruction of the seed coat. These plants, certain pines, banksias, many chaparral species, depend on fire, have evolved specifically for post-fire landscapes. Picture the aftermath. Blackened earth, still warm, and suddenly green shoots emerging from what looked like total destruction. Fire isn't catastrophe for these species. It's opportunity, it's signal, it's release. The landscape burns, clears, resets, and dormant seeds awaken, claiming the scorched ground before anything else can. destruction and renewal are the same event. The coco de mer seed weighs up to 40 pounds, the largest seed in the world, a botanical giant shaped suggestively like a human pelvis. These enormous seeds grow on palms in the Seychelles, taking years to mature. Each seed contains enough stored energy to support a seedling for years as it establishes in nutrient-poor soil. Imagine the investment: months of photosynthesis concentrated into one massive seed, all resources poured into a single offspring. This is quality over quantity, betting everything on a few well-provisioned descendants. The seed is so large it cannot disperse far. It simply falls and germinates near the parent. Sometimes the strategy isn't spread but depth, not many but few, not distance but quality. Squirting cucumber seeds can launch 20 feet at 60 miles per hour, expelled explosively when ripe fruits detach from stems. Pressure builds inside the fruit as it ripens, like a biological grenade. At peak pressure, the fruit detaches, and the sudden release sends seeds and liquid jetting out the stem hole like a rocket. It's violent, surprising, effective. Picture the explosion: a cucumber-sized fruit suddenly erupting, seeds flying in all directions, landing far beyond where gravity alone would place them. This is ballistic dispersal, active rather than passive, the plant taking dispersal into its own hands, or rather, into its own pressurized fruits. Sometimes gentle drifting isn't enough. Sometimes you need to explode. Mistletoe seeds are explosively ejected from berries, fired at high speed onto nearby branches where they stick and germinate. The berry's internal pressure builds until it ruptures, launching the seed at velocities reaching 50 miles per hour. The seed is coated in vicin, an adhesive substance that ensures it sticks wherever it lands. For a parasitic plant, this is perfect. Rapid, forceful dispersal directly onto potential host branches. Picture the moment: a berry rupturing, a seed shooting through air, impacting a branch, adhering instantly. It's targeted delivery, precision placement. The seed doesn't need to land on soil, it needs to land on wood, on a host, and explosive dispersal makes that possible. Some seeds hitchhike on animal fur using tiny hooks, traveling miles inside the coat of a passing deer or coyote. Burrs, cockleburs, beggars' ticks, they're covered in hooks shaped perfectly to snag fur or clothing. The animal becomes an unwitting dispersal agent, carrying seeds far from the parent plant until grooming or movement dislodges them. Picture the engineering: hooks at microscopic scale, shaped to grab but eventually release, strong enough to hold but not so strong they're permanent. This is opportunistic dispersal, exploiting animals' mobility without asking permission. The seed catches a ride, travels for free, drops off at a random location. Sometimes the best transportation is someone else's legs. Plants produce thousands of chemical compounds for defense, an arsenal of toxins, irritants, and deterrents that make eating them costly or dangerous. Alkaloids, tannins, terpenoids, phenolics, complex molecules that interfere with digestion, taste bitter, cause nausea, or outright poison. Every plant is a pharmacy, producing medicines and poisons depending on dosage and target. Imagine the evolutionary arms race: herbivores evolving to detoxify plant compounds, plants evolving stronger compounds, herbivores adapting further. It's chemical warfare conducted slowly over millions of years. The green world looks peaceful, but it's defended, fortified, ready to punish those who eat without consequence. Defense doesn't require motion, chemistry suffices. The scent of freshly cut grass releases green leaf volatiles, a chemical distress call summoning predatory insects to defend against herbivores. That fresh, pleasant smell we associate with lawns and summer is actually a cry for help, a chemical 911 broadcast into the air. The plant believes it's being eaten by caterpillars or other pests and releases compounds that attract wasps, beetles, and predatory bugs that feed on herbivores. Picture the communication: grass sending chemical signals, predatory insects detecting them from distance, converging on the damaged plant to hunt. It's biological pest control, activated by damage. What smells wholesome to us is a plant screaming at frequencies we interpret as pleasant. Acacia trees release tannins when giraffes browse them, a rapid chemical defense that makes leaves bitter and less nutritious. Within minutes of browsing beginning, tannin levels rise and giraffes must move on to find better forage. But the defense doesn't stop there. The browsed acacia releases ethylene gas that drifts downwind, warning neighboring acacias, which preemptively boost their own tannin levels before being browsed. Picture the cascade. One tree under attack, releasing warnings, downwind trees receiving signals and preparing defenses. The giraffe finds tree after tree already fortified, bitter before being touched. The trees communicate, coordinate, defend collectively. Even stationary organisms can form defensive alliances. Some plants can increase toxin production within minutes of being eaten, a rapid response defense system. Damage triggers signaling cascades that activate defensive gene expression, ramping up production of toxic or unpalatable compounds. The first bites might be tolerable, but subsequent bites become increasingly unpleasant as chemical defenses intensify. Imagine an herbivore's experience. Starting a meal, then finding each bite more bitter, more toxic, until the plant becomes inedible. This is active resistance, not passive fortification. The plant senses damage, interprets it as attack, responds by making itself less valuable as food. Defense can be dynamic, escalating, proportional to threat. Even the eaten can fight back while being consumed. Poison ivy's urushiol oil remains active for years on dead plants, clothing, or tools, a persistent chemical weapon that doesn't degrade easily. Touch a dead, dry poison ivy vine from last year and you'll still get the rash. The oil is stable, potent, patient. It's not water-soluble, so rain doesn't wash it away. It binds to skin on contact, triggering immune responses that cause the characteristic blistering rash. Picture the longevity. A plant dying, decomposing, yet still defending itself through chemistry that outlasts its tissues. Even in death, poison ivy punishes contact. The defense persists beyond life, a chemical legacy that continues protecting long after the plant is gone. Stinging nettles inject multiple chemicals through hollow needles, delivering a painful cocktail of histamine, acetylcholine, serotonin, and formic acid. Each leaf is covered in tiny hypodermic syringes, silica-tipped hairs that break off in skin, releasing their chemical payload. The pain is immediate, intense, lasting. It's sophisticated defense, mechanical penetration combined with chemical irritation. Picture the deterrence factor. Animals learn quickly that nettle equals pain, that green soft-looking leaves are actually heavily armed. One touch teaches respect. The plant needs no thorns, no hard parts, just chemistry and tiny needles. Sometimes the softest-looking defenses are the most effective. The jimpy plant's sting can cause pain for months, one of the most potent plant defenses known. Found in Australian rainforests, it's covered in silica hairs that inject neurotoxins so powerful that horses have jumped off cliffs to escape the pain after brushing against it. The sensation is described as being burned with acid and electrocuted simultaneously. Worse, the pain can recur for months whenever the affected area gets wet or cold. Imagine that level of defense, not just deterring a current threat, but creating such lasting pain that the memory alone prevents future contact. It's punishment that persists, teaching lessons that last lifetimes. Some plants produce caffeine specifically to poison insects, using the same compound we consume for alertness as a neurotoxin against small invertebrates. In low doses, caffeine disrupts insect nervous systems, causing paralysis or death. In higher concentrations, it's a powerful pesticide. Coffee plants, tea plants, citrus, they're all weaponizing caffeine against herbivores while offering it as reward to pollinators in nectar, where low doses actually improve bee memory. Picture the sophistication. Same chemical, different dosages, different targets, different outcomes. Poison to some, reward to others. Context determines whether a compound is weapon or gift. Chemistry is neutral. Application makes it meaningful. Tobacco produces nicotine as an insecticide, a potent neurotoxin that kills or deters many herbivorous insects. The plant concentrates nicotine in leaves, the parts most likely to be eaten, making them bitter and dangerous. Nicotine binds to insect nerve receptors, causing paralysis and death at sufficient doses. Humans co-opted this plant defense for our own use, extracting nicotine for everything from addiction to agricultural pesticides. Imagine the irony. A chemical evolved to prevent consumption becomes one of the most widely consumed plant compounds in human history. What protects the plant harms the consumer, yet consumption continues. Defense and attraction can coexist in the same molecule. Plants emit ultrasonic clicks when stressed, acoustic popping sounds like microscopic bubble wrap that intensify with dehydration or injury. Scientists at Tel Aviv University recorded these emissions, finding that stressed plants click up to 40 times per hour, while unstressed plants click less than once. The sounds are too high frequency for human hearing, but insects, mammals, and other plants might detect them. Picture the implications. Plants making noise, broadcasting their condition acoustically. It's not language, not communication in the way we understand it, but it's signal, it's information. The silent world of plants isn't silent at all. We're just deaf to most of what they're saying. Venus flytraps can count to prevent false triggers, requiring 2 touches within 20 seconds before snapping shut. The first touch primes the trap, activating sensory hairs. If a second touch follows quickly, the trap closes. This counting mechanism prevents wasting energy on false alarms, raindrops, falling debris, wind. Once closed, the trap counts again. If the prey continues struggling, triggering hairs 3, 4, 5 more times, the plant invests in full digestion, secreting enzymes. If nothing struggles, the trap reopens within a day, having conserved resources. Imagine the sophistication: a plant without a brain, counting touches, making decisions, allocating resources based on stimulus patterns. Memory and math exist without neurons. Mimosa pudica folds its leaves within seconds of touch, a dramatic defensive response to perceived threats. Touch one leaflet and the entire leaf collapses, drooping downward, making the plant appear wilted, less palatable. The response spreads from the touch point outward, sometimes affecting the entire plant. It works through rapid changes in cell turgor pressure, like deflating water balloons. Picture the movement, fast enough to watch, surprising in a kingdom usually characterized by stillness. The plant resets after minutes, reinflating, reopening. It's costly energetically but effective against browsing. Sometimes looking damaged or unappetizing is the best defense. Sometimes the best response to danger is retreat. Plants can detect sound vibrations from insect chewing, distinguishing feeding sounds from wind or rain. When researchers played recordings of caterpillar chewing, plants increased chemical defenses in their leaves. Wind sounds, similar in volume and frequency, produced no response. The plant recognizes the specific vibrations of herbivory and responds accordingly. Imagine the sensory world. A plant feeling sound waves through its tissues, interpreting vibrations, identifying threats by acoustic signature alone. It's hearing without ears, sound detection without specialized organs. The world is full of information available in multiple forms, and plants are listening, attending, responding to signals we didn't know they could perceive. Prayer plants fold their leaves at night, unfold at dawn, following a circadian rhythm independent of light. Even in constant conditions, perpetual darkness or perpetual light, they continue the cycle driven by internal clocks. The movement comes from pulvini, specialized cells at leaf bases that swell and shrink rhythmically. Picture the nightly ritual. Leaves rising at dusk like hands in prayer, lowering at dawn, day after day, driven by molecular oscillations that tick like clockwork. It's anticipation. The plant prepares for night before night arrives, for day before light returns. Time is tracked internally, independently. Even rooted stationary organisms experience circadian rhythms, living in time as surely as we do. Some vines can sense and grow toward nearby supports, detecting them before physical contact. They appear to reach intentionally toward trellises, trees, or poles. The mechanism involves detecting shade patterns, air humidity differences, or even volatile chemicals released by potential hosts. The vine curves, searches, adjusts direction, homing in on support before touching it. Picture the seeking behavior, a growing vine tip swaying in slow circles, sampling its environment, orienting toward something solid it hasn't yet touched. It looks like purpose, like intention. Maybe those words don't apply without brains, but the behavior suggests something beyond random growth. Seeking exists. Direction exists. Plants navigate their world deliberately. Dodder plants can smell their preferred host plants, growing toward chemical cues released by specific species. Dodder is parasitic, so choosing the right host matters. Some plants are nutritious, others toxic or defensive. Researchers found that dodder seedlings grow toward volatile compounds released by tomato plants but avoid wheat. It's olfaction without a nose, chemical sensing without specialized organs. Imagine the seedling, eyeless, rootless, emerging from soil and immediately orienting toward food it can smell but not see. It makes growth decisions based on airborne chemicals, following scent trails like a hound. Plants can smell. That sentence still feels surprising, but it's true. They detect, discriminate, prefer. Plants bend toward light through unequal cell growth, elongating cells on the shaded side while compressed side cells grow slower. This differential growth causes curvature, the stem bending toward brightness. The hormone auxin mediates the process, accumulating on the shaded side, promoting growth there. It's beautifully simple. Grow more on one side, less on the other, and the whole structure curves. Picture a seedling emerging in shade, sensing a distant light source, bending toward it over hours or days. It looks like reaching, like yearning. The mechanism is mechanical and hormonal, but the outcome is directional growth toward the resource the plant needs most: light. Telegraph plants move their leaflets rhythmically, though this dancing depends on warmth and light to sustain the energy required. The small lateral leaflets rotate in elliptical patterns, moving continuously when conditions are favorable: warm temperatures, adequate light. In cold or darkness, movement slows or stops to conserve energy. It's one of the few plants with spontaneous movement not triggered by touch or light direction. The function remains partially mysterious, perhaps thermoregulation, perhaps communication, perhaps just movement for movement's sake. Picture the dance, leaflets tracing circles in space, rising and falling like tiny conducting batons, driven by turgor changes in specialized motor cells. Life moves when it can afford to. Bladderworts trap prey in 1/1000th of a second, among the fastest movements in the plant kingdom. These aquatic carnivores have tiny bladders with trap doors held under negative pressure. When prey triggers sensitive hairs, the door swings open, water and prey rush in, and the door snaps shut, all faster than a blink. The prey is digested over days. Imagine the engineering: a biological suction trap, perfectly sealed, patiently waiting, then striking with shocking speed. The plant is stationary, rooted in muck, but it hunts, captures, consumes. Predation doesn't require pursuit. Sometimes the deadliest hunters are the ones that wait, armed, ready, invisible. Plants have at least 20 different senses, including gravity and humidity, far more than the traditional 5 senses we recognize in animals. They sense light wavelength and intensity, soil chemistry, temperature gradients, water availability, touch, sound vibrations, chemical signals, magnetic fields, pathogen presence, and more. Each sense involves different mechanisms: proteins, ion channels, chemical receptors. Picture the sensory world plants inhabit: rich, complex, multidimensional, responsive. They may lack brains to integrate this information consciously, but they clearly process it, respond to it, make decisions based on it. Sensation without consciousness is still sensation. Awareness without thought is still awareness. Plants experience their environment fully, intimately. Antarctic hairgrass survives temperatures below -4 degrees Fahrenheit, one of only 2 flowering plants native to Antarctica. It clings to rocky outcrops near the coast, enduring winter darkness, frozen soil, hurricane-force winds. The plant produces antifreeze proteins, accumulates sugars that lower freezing point, maintains flexible cell membranes that don't rupture when frozen. Picture the harshness: months of darkness, temperatures that kill most life, ice crystals forming in tissues. Yet spring arrives, the grass thaws, photosynthesizes, flowers, sets seed. Its tenacity at the edge of possibility, life persisting where life barely can. Antarctica is nearly lifeless, but nearly isn't entirely. Where conditions permit even briefly, plants find ways to endure. Resurrection plants can lose 95% of their water and revive, appearing dead for months or years before rehydrating and resuming life. Their cells avoid damage by producing protective sugars and proteins that preserve cellular structures during desiccation. When water returns, they unfurl, green up, photosynthesize within hours. Picture the transformation: brittle, brown, seemingly dead, then suddenly lush and living again. It challenges our categories. Is it alive while dry? It's metabolically inactive, indistinguishable from dead tissue, yet retains the capacity to revive. Perhaps life isn't a binary state, but a spectrum. Perhaps dormancy is its own form of living, just paused, waiting, ready. Welwitschia plants in the Namib Desert live over 1,000 years, producing just 2 leaves that grow continuously throughout their entire lives. These leaves split, tear, and tangle over centuries, creating shaggy masses that look ancient and alien. The plant grows from a woody disc that never increases in height, only width. Rainfall is scarce, but coastal fog provides moisture the plant absorbs through leaves. Imagine a single organism persisting for a millennium, growing the same 2 leaves for centuries, surviving on fog in one of Earth's driest places. It's patience personified, endurance made visible. Some solutions to harsh environments aren't about aggression, but about radical, prolonged persistence. Mangroves filter salt from seawater through their roots, using selective membranes that allow water through while blocking salt ions. Some mangrove species excrete excess salt through specialized glands on leaves, where it crystallizes and falls away. This lets them thrive in estuaries where most plants cannot survive. Too salty for freshwater species, too freshwater for marine algae. Picture the niche: intertidal zones where land meets sea, roots submerged at high tide, exposed at low tide. Mangroves stabilize coastlines, provide nurseries for fish, sequester carbon. They succeed by filtering, by excluding, by controlling what enters. Selectivity enables survival in places others cannot tolerate. Some alpine plants survive by producing natural antifreeze, proteins, and sugars that prevent ice crystal formation in their tissues. As temperatures drop, these compounds accumulate, lowering the freezing point of cellular fluids, preventing the sharp ice crystals that would rupture cell membranes. The plant can supercool, remaining liquid below freezing, or tolerate ice formation in extracellular spaces while keeping cells themselves ice-free. Imagine the chemistry: proteins binding to forming ice crystals, inhibiting their growth, keeping vital structures liquid. It's cellular-level cold tolerance, molecular adaptation to extreme cold. Life finds ways to prevent freezing, or to freeze safely, or to tolerate being frozen. Adaptation is flexible, creative, diverse. Desert plants can have surface temperatures exceeding 150 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to cause burns, yet their internal tissues remain cooler. Reflective surfaces, thick cuticles, insulating hairs, and evaporative cooling through minimal stomatal opening all help. Some plants orient leaves to minimize sun exposure. Others have shallow root systems that access infrequent surface moisture quickly. Picture the extremes: soil surface at 150 degrees Fahrenheit, air temperature 120 degrees Fahrenheit, the plant caught between furnace earth and furnace sky. Yet inside leaves, carefully managed biochemistry continues. Photosynthesis requires specific temperature ranges. Too hot and enzymes denature. Desert plants walk a thermal tightrope, balancing heat absorption against heat dissipation, surviving by managing temperature meticulously. The corpse flower heats itself to 98 degrees Fahrenheit to spread its scent, burning stored energy to volatilize compounds that smell like rotting flesh. This thermogenesis requires massive caloric expenditure. The plant burns through years of stored reserves in one bloom. The heat creates convection currents that carry scent farther, attracts insects from greater distances. Picture the energy investment: years of slow accumulation, then a brief, spectacular expenditure, a biological bonfire lasting just a day or two. It's a gamble. If pollination fails, years are wasted. But the strategy works often enough to persist. Sometimes success requires burning everything you have in one spectacular, irreversible effort. Some plants survive by eating insects to supplement poor soil, turning predator to obtain nutrients unavailable through roots alone. Carnivorous plants, Venus flytraps, sundews, pitcher plants, bladderworts, live in nutrient-poor environments like bogs where nitrogen and phosphorus are scarce. They trap, kill, and digest insects, absorbing nutrients from decomposing bodies. It's hunting without movement, predation through patient traps. Picture the inversion. Plants, usually producers, becoming consumers, extracting nutrients from animal flesh instead of soil. When environment fails to provide, innovation follows. When roots cannot find nutrients, leaves evolve to hunt them. Scarcity breeds creativity, limitations foster adaptation. Saguaro cacti can absorb 200 gallons of water in one rainfall, expanding like living water towers during rare desert storms. Their accordion-pleated skin allows for massive expansion without tearing. Shallow, widespread roots quickly absorb surface water before it evaporates or soaks deep. The stored water sustains the plant through months or years of drought. Picture the transformation: a cactus before rain, narrow, pleated, and after, swollen, smooth, heavy with stored water. It's a survival strategy built on opportunism and patience. Absorb everything when water comes, then ration it slowly until the next unpredictable rain. Thirst teaches conservation. Scarcity teaches efficiency. Arctic poppies track the sun to create warm microclimates for insects, their bowl-shaped flowers acting as parabolic reflectors that focus sunlight. The center of the flower can be significantly warmer than surrounding air, offering insects a heated refuge. In return, warmed insects are more active, more efficient pollinators. It's mutualism through solar engineering. The flower uses shape and orientation to concentrate warmth. Insects provide pollination services. Both benefit. Picture an Arctic poppy on a cold morning, its face turned toward the sun, insects clustering in its warm center like people around a campfire. Even in the far north, flowers create their own microclimates, their own small environments where pollination becomes possible. Bamboo can grow 35 inches in a single day, the fastest growing plant on Earth. During peak growth season, you can almost watch it happening, shoots elongating visibly hour by hour. This extraordinary speed is possible because bamboo invests years building an extensive underground rhizome network first. When conditions align, right temperature, right moisture, the stored energy erupts into vertical growth. Picture the emergence: a shoot breaking ground in morning, waist-high by evening, towering by week's end. It looks like time-lapse footage playing at normal speed. The slowness is hidden underground. The visible growth is the payoff from years of invisible preparation. The giant sequoia can weigh over 2 million pounds, among the most massive organisms on Earth. The General Sherman tree, the largest known, contains an estimated 52,500 cubic feet of wood. Its weight is almost incomprehensible, the accumulation of centuries of photosynthesis, of water pulled from soil, of carbon extracted from air. Imagine the foundation required to support such mass. Roots spreading wide, anchoring deep, holding tons of living tissue upright. This is ancient biomass, the physical manifestation of time and growth and persistence. The tree isn't just old, it's volumetrically, massively present. Some organisms don't just occupy space, they dominate it through sheer accumulated existence. Water lilies can support the weight of a small child, their leaves engineered with structural ribbing that distributes load efficiently. The Victoria water lily, native to South America, produces pads over 6 feet across with upturned rims. The undersides show radiating ribs like architectural supports, creating strength without excessive weight. The leaves float on surface tension and buoyancy, supported by air pockets. Picture a child standing on a lily pad, the leaf barely bending, ribs flexing slightly, distributing the weight across the entire structure. It's biological engineering that inspired human architecture, railway stations and greenhouses mimicking lily pad ribbing. Nature solved structural problems millions of years before humans encountered them. Some orchids take 15 years to bloom for the first time, investing over a decade in root and leaf development before producing flowers. This extreme patience reflects the orchid's mycorrhizal dependency. It must establish fungal partnerships, build sufficient root mass, accumulate adequate reserves. Only when mature and well established does it risk the energetic expense of flowering. Imagine the timescale: A seed germinates, a tiny plant emerges, and for 15 years it simply grows, vegetatively, invisibly, building toward an eventual bloom. It's investment in infrastructure, delayed gratification at botanical scale. Reproduction can wait. Survival and establishment come first. The long game pays dividends eventually. The strangler fig begins life in a tree canopy and grows downward, starting as an epiphyte from a seed dropped by a bird. It sends roots down the host tree's trunk to the ground, simultaneously growing upward toward light. Over decades, the fig's roots thicken, fuse, eventually encase the host tree completely. The host dies, rots away, leaving a hollow fig tree standing where the host once stood. Picture the transformation, beginning in branches, germinating in bark crevices, slowly taking over, replacing the host's function, standing where the host stood. It's parasitism that becomes independence, using the host as scaffolding until self-support is achieved. Then the scaffolding disappears and only the fig remains. Plants can alter their growth based on neighboring plant sounds, detecting and responding to acoustic vibrations from nearby roots. Research suggests roots make clicking sounds as they grow, and neighboring plants may sense these sounds and adjust their own growth patterns accordingly. The mechanisms are not fully understood, but experiments show plants exposed to these sounds grow differently than isolated plants. Imagine the underground soundscape. Roots clicking, crackling, growing, and others listening, adjusting. It's another sensory channel we didn't know existed, another form of plant communication. The soil isn't silent. Life makes noise at every scale. We're just beginning to hear it. One oak tree can release 28,000 acorns in a year, an enormous reproductive output that overwhelms seed predators. Most acorns will be eaten by squirrels, jays, deer, insects. But if even 1% germinate successfully, that's still 280 new oaks, far more than needed to replace one parent. Its satiation strategy: produce so many seeds that predators cannot possibly consume them all. Picture autumn, acorns falling like hard rain, carpeting the ground, far more than any predator population can consume. Somewhere in that abundance, a few escape notice, germinate, survive. Overwhelming numbers overcome overwhelming odds. Sometimes survival is a numbers game, and the strategy is simply to outnumber death. Bristlecone pines grow so slowly their rings are microscopic, each year adding barely perceptible width. In harsh alpine environments with short growing seasons, cold temperatures and scarce water, growth is measured in fractions of millimeters annually. This slowness contributes to longevity. The wood is dense, resistant to rot and pests. Picture the timeline. A tree that may grow an inch in diameter over a century, that may live 5,000 years because it's in no hurry. Slow growth equals dense wood equals rot resistance equals longevity. Speed isn't always advantage. Sometimes the slowest organisms outlast everything else simply because they're never in a rush, never vulnerable through haste. The Rafflesia flower can measure 3 feet across, one of the world's largest flowers, parasitic and rootless. It produces no leaves, no stems, no chlorophyll, only the massive flower which emerges from its host vine's tissue. For months or years, it grows as filaments inside the host, invisible. Then suddenly, a bud appears, swells, opens into a spectacular bloom that lasts only days. Picture the surprise. A vine looking normal, then suddenly sprouting a 3-foot flower that smells like death. It's pure reproductive effort, no vegetative support structure, just flower. The rest of the time, it's invisible, woven into another organism's tissues, waiting. A single tree can house an entire ecosystem of thousands of species, from bacteria to birds to mammals. Bark, leaves, heartwood, roots, each part provides habitat, food, shelter. Insects bore galleries, fungi decompose deadwood, lichens colonize bark, epiphytes grow on branches, cavities shelter birds and mammals. Picture the residents: beetles, ants, moths, spiders, snails, frogs, birds, squirrels, bats, plus thousands of microbial species. One tree is a world, a community, an apartment complex. It provides everything needed for countless lives: structure, food, water, shelter, nursery space. Trees aren't individuals living alone, they're habitats, ecosystems, nations. A forest isn't millions of trees, It's millions of worlds, each one populated, busy, alive. You've traveled through 100 moments of plant life now, each one a small window into green intelligence we're only beginning to understand. They've been here longer than we have, will likely be here after we're gone, doing what they've always done, converting light to life, holding soil and air together, making the world habitable for all the rest of us. Sleep now, knowing the quiet ones are working still, breathing while you rest, rooted but never still.